Yeah, I think it's a great discussion. I think we learned a lot and talked about a lot of ideas. Um, so let's now we can talk about the repository version of this. Let's do that. Um, let's make a new branch here. Login repository. Okay, so I'm going to throw that inside. We're going to make a new package inside domain called repository, strictly because that's what I saw in the set blog post we were looking at earlier. We're going to call this a login repository. Because the repository is separate from the use case. Why new branch? Because I have no idea if anyone actually looks at these pull requests, but I want to be able to have them as clear and separated pull requests, so that if people look at the stream history, they could like zone in on a particular topic. I should have just gone with the kappa emo and ignored it. We are, but I will take being trolled any day, because for every trolly question is someone not talking in chat who actually has that question. So I will answer all of them. Cool, I'm glad. So that's one reason we do it. So our login repository is another layer. So our use case is just like, hey, we need to do this thing. But our repository is going to have a little more logic about how we actually log in. And the return type of this function will be different, I think. And here's where it's going to be different. So we're going to have a function here. It's not going to be an overload. We're going to have a function called login, which will take an email and a password. Also, I wonder if I should change where email and password are defined. Like, I wonder if inside models we should make a class called, or a file called credentials or something. And then let's take these out because they're not needed here. And let's throw them inside here. And actually, let's go a step further. I said I wasn't gonna do it, and now I want to do it. We're gonna make it its own thing, credentials. Because then it just is cleaner elsewhere. We don't have to have email and password all the time, right? We could have, this will just take in credentials. This screws up all sorts. Oh, we didn't actually use login type. I should have deleted that on the last PR. Whoops. Okay, login repository. So then we could have a login with credentials. I'm going to call this login with credentials because I can already see without even looking at it that someone in chat is going to point that out. And here is where our result class will actually come in. Is I want to return a result of a login. Did I get rid of login response? I did, and I shouldn't have. Let's add it back. We want a login response, which is actually a response from any request to log in to an external service. And this is where we're going to get our auth token. So this is what our login repository does. This is the data layer for any requests related to logging in the user. Yeah, I suppose. We could just call it login. But I'm just thinking ahead of like, you know, if we have like login with Google, that would be like a different function. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, because I think that's been one of the struggles of this stream, is we keep getting ahead of ourselves. Huh. Can you overload? I thought that I had issues with that. Or I guess as long as they're different types, it's fine. Yeah, as long as they're different types. If you use the same parameters, it will yell at you, which I've seen. I don't know why you would do that, but I think I tried to do it once and it yelled at me. Uh, Given some user credentials, try to log in the user. If successful, or a result that contains the login response if successful, or an error otherwise. Also, another thing CP said way back then, hell yeah, go blue. Um, I'm currently in New York City, but I'm a born and raised Michigander. So, uh, I'm actually going to go back to another thing CP mentioned about a result. Or whoops. See, I knew this was going to come to bite me. I knew this was going to come to bite me. Where's my login repository? I'm losing everything. I want this to be my result class. Um, oh, okay, I do actually have. I changed a whole bunch of stuff. This is a throwable. I wanted to make sure that was the throwable, that parameter there. Okay, we've got our login repository. It's got a way of logging in with credentials. So now what we can do is actually, well, we're going to need to rename this. I don't know why this didn't yell at me. Um, now that we have a repository, which this will be the wrapper for like our network request to actually log in the user somewhere. Now we could actually make our production login use case. So last chance for chat to vote. Maybe I should have made a poll. Can I run a poll from here easily? I don't actually know how to do anything on my Twitch thing. Yeah, I don't know how to start a poll. I was going to create a poll on what do we want to call the implementation? Do we do credentials, login, use case, impl? Or do we want to, oh, congratulations, that's very exciting. Or do we want to call it like prod credentials, login, use case? Delegated to a mod. I should be able to do it from the dashboard here. I have no idea why it doesn't stand out as like a quick and easy thing for me to do. But it's probably because I just don't know how to do anything. But we could just vote in chat. Do we want the impl suffix or the prod prefix? Or something else? I don't think we want something else. Because I don't have anything more specific to call it. But I'm leaning towards prod, and so I might just make the executive decision. Prefix. Nice. All right, 2 votes. Y'all, oh my god, chat is finally agreeing with me. It's the first time all night. Ah, I'm so glad. All right. So, one thing is this is going to need to consume a repository. And so we can say this is a concrete implementation of a credentials login use case that will request logging in via the login repository. And now, now I'm going to throw a curveball that none of you expected. This is our first class that we've defined that is like not just an interface and something we're actually going to be using inside the app. So you know what this means? It's an opportunity for test-driven development. So I am not going to implement this invoke function I am going to write tests for a success and a failure login scenario and make sure that this class returns the right result. Yeah, TDD is really nice. So let's dive in. Let's create the test class. Unit 4. Throw this in. Oh, thank you for the subscription, Jimmy. I didn't know that TDD was all I had to do to get subs, but we'll do plenty more of it. Let's start. Well, one thing is we're going to need a fake login repository. So let's make one of those. So I think what I'll do for that is I don't know. Do I want to make a new package? I think I'll do this for now until it grows really bad. Let's create a package called fakes. Why don't you mock its functions? Well, this is a good question. And there are complicated answers to this. One being, as helpful as like mock-k is for, or mock-ito, those libraries are for testing, like you kind of end up breaking a crucial principle in your test, which is like you build this hard dependency on a third-party library. And like if I want to move off of mock-k, then I don't want it infiltrating every single one of my tests. Now there are ways to do this. Hey Justin, welcome to the stream. It is Wednesday. There are ways to like put wrappers around these mocking libraries, but sometimes I like kind of having control over it. But we could look at a way of mocking the libraries if y'all are interested in doing that. What do you think? Do you want to see what I mean about how we could like mock or put a wrapper around the library? Let's do it. I'm actually, and I'm going to show Sam. No, it's good for this stream. Everything I'm about to show you, I learned from Sam Edwards. And actually, let me just show you his post while we're here. So does he just shows an example of doing it. But so here's the original. So here we like, he's using mock-ito Kotlin, but which I actually wouldn't use. I kind of like the mock-k library, but here, let me zoom in. We create a mock, right? And then we have this stuff like whenever function call, then return. And then we have all these verifications. And we litter these around all of our tests in the app. And that's a problem because if for any reason I want to get, yeah. Oh, good point. Like, yeah, it could be a problem if like the surface changes a lot. But yeah, like if any of this changes, then I've got this problem all over the place, right? But here's how we can actually make it a little nicer. We still want to create a fake, but instead of doing all of the mocking ourselves, which is kind of where I was about to head, we just proxy that wrapping. So here, we still create a mock that is public to expose. This is something we're going to have to do. But then we could just create a function that's like, given this result, right? And then here, we've wrapped the mock-ito stuff. It's inside this function that we don't know. And then this verification is the same way. I don't really get this like syntax that he's using. I wouldn't have written it this way in this naming convention. But now we can see it's all hidden. So our test now only interacts with the fake oven. So if I want to get rid of mock-ito Kotlin or I want to swap it out for another mocking library, I only have to update my fake oven. I don't need to update all of my tests. So I think this is a good hybrid approach. You get the benefit of mocking libraries without the strict dependency on mocking libraries. So I think it's valid. Let's try it out for our app. So let's look up mock-k. Again, this is the library that I really like to use. and they're on version 1.12, so let's go ahead and throw this in our Gradle file. Not that Gradle file. Oh, I want to clean up this file a lot, but we'll do that also in another stream. Maybe we'll do a secondary developer experience stream because I think we can clean up a lot of how our Gradle stuff is managed. Let's go into our fakes and our fake login repository. So here we need to expose the repository. So we can call this a login repository. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I was doing originally, but now we're saying we're still using a mocking library without having to have that strong dependency on it. So what's one thing we're going to have to do? Well, one thing we're going to have is like mock login with credentials. It's not unrealistic to end up with 100 plus of these fake classes, right? At what point does it stop being beneficial? Arguably never. Because you're just having the same benefit repeated 100 times. I suppose it's not beneficial if your individual dependencies are changing a lot and you're writing fakes that you don't need later. But like that's I guess something we can't really avoid, right? Like it's the same benefit just kind of repeated a bunch of times, in my opinion. We'll have this take in our credentials. Oh my god. I really don't like that I have it in different spots, but so but then can't the same thing be said about our app layer? Like one thing I think of with tests and why I love like the robot pattern, you guys have seen me preach that a million times. I'm like the importance of having like the robot pattern as like a facade even to be used in unit tests is for some reason we take a lot of crucial topics that we know are really important inside our application, but they seem to go out the window with testing. People don't really think about wrapping libraries in testing. People don't think about separation of concerns in testing. Uh, but it matters, right? Because sure, it's not impacting your users, and product isn't going to ask you, like, hey, swap this out and test, but you might want to do that. Like, there might be a reason that you as a developer want to switch it out one day. Or maybe a whole new mocking library will come along that's even better, and like, you will want that. And the same, for all the same reasons, we want these concepts in um, our actual application. Uh, Sure, and I mean that's valid, right? Like I'm not here to shame you for not doing this, but like the the concern is much like our conversations on use cases, right? It's like my use case is unlikely to change. I'm unlikely to, maybe I change my login repository, but I'm unlikely to change like the login use case talking to a login repository. But I want to have that option and scalability should I need it. And I think that it's valid for us to uh, have that same mindset when it comes to writing our tests. Okay, so this will be every mock dot login credentials returns result. So yeah, this is our fake implementation. So fake implementation of a login repository that wraps all of our mock work. So let's use it. Let's actually write some tests here. So let's say we want to, well, we'll have, test successful login. Um, we can say, response, we'll say login response, auth token, success. That's what we'll put here. Yeah, I mean, Tim brings up a good point. It's but I find it fascinating that we're thinking that about like tests, right? Because um I mean, am I crazy in thinking that like we're taking a concept that we clearly recognize as important in our application code and we're arguing that it's not important in our test code? And I understand the text code is different, and I understand that it won't bite us in the same ways that it will bite us in our application code. But I still think that's just some interesting like self-reflection that we can all do. Why is our test code different? Why isn't it deserving of the same scalability considerations as our application code? Just a thought. Okay, so how do we test our successful login here? Well, we're going to have our repository. We'll create a fake login repository. Um, I'm going to say apply. I'm going to say, well, actually, we've got some other inputs here. So let's say our credentials um, will be email, testy@mctestfates.com, password hunter2. Um, yeah, okay, scalability is wrong, but like maintainability, right? The ability to swap things out, to swap out dependencies, right? To avoid hard dependencies on third-party tooling is something that we try not to do in our application code. We're saying in testing, if the third-party tooling matches our design, it matches what we need, then why would I need to wrap it? And I just like, no one would ever say that about application code, right? We would say that no matter how good retrofit is, you still want a repository layer. Um, credentials result. So, okay. So let me read. I'm going to rename this just to be clear. Input credentials. We'll call this mock response, and this one could be mock result. Okay, so now that we've got our setup, what do we need to do? Well, let's create our use case. Well, actually, we could just say result equals login repository use case. Or wait, no, hold on. Sorry. Let's create the use case, which is going to be prod credentials login use case with the login repository dot mock. And our result will be use case credentials. Input credentials. This is suspending, so I want run blocking. I don't have run blocking test in here. Sorry, hold on. We need the coroutines test dependency. So let me get that. Um, I want to have the coroutines test library. Hmm. Yeah, I mean, Raphael brings up a good point, right? That like anything can happen that we can't predict. That could be a reason for wanting to. I hate this and this. I don't know if I actually need it. Um, to want to switch stuff out. And so this application that we're building now has that capability. Um, so I also want the truth library. I don't know if y'all have seen truth, but uh, it's another really great way to have like fluent assertions inside our projects. Let me add that real quick. Um, uh, okay, so we've got a result. So what we're going to do with this case is say we want to assert that result is equal to login result dot success. Yeah, I think run blocking works. I think run blocking test just gives you some additional information, like it checks like for like um yeah, I've ran into weird issues too. I'm hoping not today. But it checks like any coroutines that are running and stuff. Okay, so we've got a successful login. Um let's try let's test unknown failure login. Um so here we can say this will be result that failure. Whoops. What do I call it? Oh, result that error. Let's just put throwable. Adam fucked up. We can throw that in there. Um, so here we want to expect login result dot failure. More specifically, login result dot failure dot unknown. So um, we basically did the same test, but we changed our mock result, and so now we're asserting it fails. But now, chat, we get into an interesting. Is the result your result? Yes. Uh, let's hold on. Use case result. We'll call it use case result so we're very clear what we're doing, what we're comparing against. So then it's clear between we have our mock result, we have our use case result. Or I guess this is really the response. This is the mock response from the repo. Um, actual result works. I'm gonna call this mock. I don't know if I want to call it mock response. No, we'll keep it at mock result. Um, okay, but we have. Well, so here it's not what's okay, then let me clarify because this is not the expected result. This is what gets returned by the repository. This, we expect, will get mapped to this login result. So results is all wrong. Even though that's the type, this isn't what it is. This is the mock login response. That's what this really is. This is the response from the repository. So maybe mock login response is better. Um, and actually, let's get rid of having this in two separate lines now. Um, and that's what we can call it. So we'll call it mock login response. And then it's not a mock technically. You're right. You're right. No, I care because I want it to be. And now, like, actual result doesn't really need to be specified. Like, this is the result now. Um, login response and our results. Okay, so now we've got a whole nother uh, naming convention and problem for us to work through. I hope you guys are ready. Which is thinking through the invalid credentials. So we want to test invalid credential login. And we need to think about, so if I have invalid credentials, what I'm expecting is the repo will return a result.error with some information saying there was invalid credentials. But what do I do here? Do I want to like key on the throwable message, or should I make my own throwable that is called invalid credentials or something? And just have that like extend throwable, like the latter. Okay, so in here we could say invalid credentials exception, and this is basically extend throwable. So a custom implementation of a throwable that occurs when the user tries to log in with invalid credentials. Okay, I like this actually. So then what we'll do is in our test, we will have invalid credentials exception. And so now we can assert that the result is invalid credentials. So just to blah, 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 keep with the TDD approach, we are going to run this and see that they all fail. And then we are going to update our use case to ensure that they pass. And what do you mean my tests were not received? Why are you yelling at me? Oh, do I need this anymore? I don't need this. That was just to satisfy the last pull request. Oh, and that's all that was yelling at me. So let's run this again. I promise I will soon figure out how I can have music on the stream at the same time that I stream. And not ruin it for the YouTube videos. I will work on that. Cool, so these all failed with the not implemented error. That's what we expected. So that's fine. Let's now change that. So here, we're going to say, let's get a response from the repo. Or let's call it repo result or something. This will be login repository.login with the credentials. And now, okay, we're going to say return when. Can you do both simultaneously? So I did do a stream where I had music on in the background. The problem is when I take these stream recordings and I upload them to YouTube, I don't want the music there. I've heard from a couple people that people who are watching it on Twitch, they don't really mind, but like people who are watching it on YouTube to understand what's happening, they want it to be music free. Um, Also, I don't want YouTube to yell at me for the music necessarily. So until I can figure out how to strip the music from the recording, I just have my stream silent. Uh, but I know there are ways to do it. Um, yeah, you can play your own music for now. So let's return switch on the repo result. If this is result dot success, now in the future, we want to store the auth token here. That is something we're going to have to do eventually. But for now, let's just ignore that and return login result.success. Otherwise, we're going to have result.error. And now we're going to want to switch based on the repo result.error that happened. And now we're going to say, okay, well, if this is a invalid credentials exception, we want to return login result dot in failure dot invalid credentials. Otherwise, login result dot failure dot unknown. It's nested quite a bit, isn't it? So let's. All I'm going to do to make this a little bit easier is say, let's say, what is, wait, where is my shortcut? Why isn't it happening? No, I want my extract method. I apparently don't have a shortcut for this. Wait. Command Option M? Is that what I want? Yeah, okay, it just didn't work earlier. So here we're gonna say login result for failure. So we're just splitting up a private function that takes in the failure, or let's say error for consistency, and maps it to right one. Checks the possible error scenarios for the repo results, and maps it to an appropriate login result. We can even say login result at failure we want to return here. And I don't like that when I extracted it, I don't like this equals. I like my brackets, okay? I know that I'm weird, but I like it. Okay, so we clean this up a little bit. This is gonna yell at me to inline this. I don't like it. I don't like it. I'm not doing it. How do I turn this off? Disable inspection. Great. Okay. This is coming in the future. Why is this? Return here. Now let's run our tests again, and I think everything should pass. I'm actually gonna, I would feel super guilty about this, but I'm getting rid of this comment. Because I know I need to do it. We will do it eventually. We'll know where it goes. And our test pass. Look at that. We did some TDD. So, that's the repository. We didn't make a like test implementation of the repository, but we could do that in the next step, I suppose. Um, so we're gonna say adding login repository and prod credential for number 7. I don't test if I store the token. You're right, because I don't. I don't store the token. Do you think we should? Should we add? Should we make a store auth token use case? How can I test that here? Let's do it. Let's show you. Well, let's start by, we can keep this in the login domain. We could say store auth token use case. So let's make this an interface. Documentation after receiving an authentication token on login, we want to store that isn't just a functionality of the login use case. Well, one of the reasons why I thought of doing another layer is because um, hmm, hmm, interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about it. Because where are we storing the token? We're storing it in preferences, right? Or most likely. Login repository, to me, again, even though it's meant to be separate, I kind of view this as like a one-to-one wrapper between like an API call. But now we're saying that our login repo is responsible for both an API call and for storing information. And I suppose that that's actually valid now that I say it out loud. Um, and we can make this suspending because maybe we put it inside. Maybe we test out the new data store uh, from Jetpack. But okay, so data store is nice. I haven't looked at it yet. Uh, the real question is, Tim, do we need a value class for the auth token? That might be the right thing to do. Um, give it an auth token, store that somewhere so that it can be retrieved for authenticating. Yeah, okay, that's actually another good point, Tim. That's what I've done before. It's like I didn't call it a repository, I called it like a provider. So you'd have like a user provider that would store and retrieve data related to the user. Or I guess we could call it an auth token provider. It's a separate interface, it's an auth token provider that is responsible for storing and fetching the stored auth token. So maybe that's another. Yeah. Do we want to call it a provider or is that another repository? Like, is auth token repository a bad idea? It's a bad idea to have like an interface here. And then we have like store auth token and then um, fetch auth token. First one to answer wins. Auth token repository or user provider? All right. Um, yeah, so you could scale around. Yeah, I don't know why like user repository. The reason I don't like it is yeah, because it's not really the other thing is like is this really doing anything related to the user? Like maybe I add functions in the future that store like an account ID or something in addition to the auth token. Um, well then Tim brings up a good point. If you potentially have repositories that are calling each other. Huh. Kind of like auth token repository for now. Right. Yeah, I guess. Um, um, hmm. Yeah, you're all bringing up good points. It's like no matter what, we're kind of the reason I to Wild Dog's point actually is the reason I kind of liked the idea of auth token repository. Hey, Calusi, how are you? the reason I like the convention of auth token repository is like this sticks with our very strict like single responsibility principle ideas that we're going for. It's like, okay, we have a repository that's responsible for storing and fetching. So should it just be a store auth token use case? Should we go all the way back to square one? Um, maybe, right? I kind of think that it makes sense. Like, I want to store this piece of information. That's a thing I want to do. This is screaming use case to me. And like, sure, we could have it like, yeah, no, I don't like. I kind of want to go down my rabbit hole first before I let chat steer me away on this one. I'm gonna go down my own rabbit hole first. We're gonna store an auth token. So our store auth token use case, say after retrieving an auth token from logging in, seems like it will always be used inside another use case. Yeah, but that's fine, right? Like I think that that is valid. A use case doesn't have to be only referenced by a view model, in my opinion. If it's a way of extracting out um, specific functionality and hiding how this is stored and fetched, just knowing that it needs to be, use case is what a user can do within a feature. Okay, that's valid. I don't like this. I'm taking this out. We're not doing it in the login repository. I don't think it belongs there. I want to die on that hill. If we don't want to make it a use case, I think it needs to be a separate repository, and that repository's responsibility is an auth token repository. And it's going to do what Tim said, and I think we're just kind of splitting hairs between provider and repository, but it's the same idea. Um, token string, fetch auth token string. This is what I think we want here. So this repository is responsible for fetching and storing a user's authentication token to a user's authentication token. Okay. Given an auth token, store this somewhere so it can be retrieved later, and then fetches the auth token of the signed in user if we have one saved. Um, the auth token or null if not found. Okay, this is what I want to go with. We're gonna throw all of that auth token logic we just talked about inside of its own repository. So I think that this is making everyone happy. It's not a use case. It's not login work. It is still its own single responsibility. And so then what we can do here is in our credentials login use case, we could have an auth token repository. And then here in success, we do auth token repository dot store auth token, repo result dot data dot auth token. Wait. Data dot. Did I not? Hold on. Oh, I made it private. I'm so dumb. That's why my autocomplete's not working. I created an auth repository and auth module, which is responsible for the author authentication apps. Then the auth repository was central or the only place to fetch the refresh token and the access token. Yeah, so I think what Wild Dog is describing is kind of what we just set up here. But someone else mentioned, I think CP, is that we could think ahead about maybe a poor idea of auth token being a string. And maybe we need to make a data class for an auth token. Because what this would have is an auth token, which will have, whoops, an auth token, which is a string, and then a refresh token, which is also a string. So contains the information necessary for authenticating network requests. So if I have this right, auth token is the current token used to validate a user's request. A token used to generate a new auth token if the current one is expired. What a nice scenario to use some value classes. Let's do it. Let's just keep it going. Wait, no. Because I can't make a value class for auth token and use it inside a data class called auth token. Do I want to call this like authentication? Name the data class token. Ah, you guys are naming everything today. I love it. The other thing is, I just realized with my email one, um, do I want it to be private? Am I gonna need to reference this later? I think I might, right? Or, oh no, I don't know. I don't know how value classes work. I don't know if it being private is a bad thing. This will yell at me for the unused private member thing again. So I'm just gonna throw this in here for now. Usually you do val value. Um, okay. Yeah, when we do the next part, we'll actually worry about that. So maybe I'll do the same thing over in the email one. We'll just call this value. Because the the value class says what it is. Okay. So yeah, okay, that makes sense. But I think actually that this shouldn't be private because I will need to read from it eventually. Right? So let's just not make them private. That solves the first problem. And that solves the static analysis problem. Okay, cool. I actually have to say I really appreciate all of you who are active in chat tonight. This has been like one of the most active streams I've ever done. And even though it feels like pulling teeth, I kind of love the structure that we've come up with here. I think this will scale really well as we go. And then maybe this is actually an excuse to maybe clean up this Miro doc. Because even though technically it's about what we've done, we've added more pieces, so maybe we could update the doc at the end. But I digress. We've got that. We've got that. That's cool. Okay. So we store the auth token. Did I make this a suspending function? I did. I forgot to use the value classes. Whoops. Great catch. What are you talking about? We've written way more than 5 lines of code. Okay. So I did not do TDD here. Let's do it. Let's comment this out and let's do this. Let's comment it out and let's update our tests. Well, the first thing is we have a new repository, so we need new fake. So in here, we're going to have our mock. And what are we going to need to mock? Well, for this case, we're just storing it. So we're not actually doing a mock, we're doing a verification. And there's going to be two verifications we want to do. The first one, we're going to say verify token stored. And this is going to consume, actually, while we're here, a couple things. This needs to be changed to a token. And then actually, let's just call this, yeah, we could still call it, nope, we're going to change this to token repository. Executive decision. So this will be a token, store token. We're just dropping the auth prefix. Maybe we would actually want like maybe we would want like fetch auth token, fetch refresh token as their own thing. But let's leave it as fetch token for now. Then we can also rename this to fake token repository. Oh no, oh no, what just happened? What did I do? No, I didn't want to undo delete. I just wanted to rename it. I just want to fix my typo. Okay. So here we want, I could do a real fake with this one, yeah. But I was kind of going for consistency, I suppose. So here we're going to say verify token stored. That will consume a token. And then we'll do co-verify mock.store token. But now we also want a function to say verify that no token was stored. Verify no token stored. And the way we'll do this is we'll do a co-verify. We want to verify that store token was called with any parameter, but the secret here is we want this to be called exactly 0 times. I think that mock K had like a never or something. I think there used to be something, but I'm just gonna say exactly 0. Or maybe it was Makita that had never. But here is our necessary stuff here. So let's do this. We can probably clean up these tests. We've got a lot copied and pasted across them, but let's do it. So token repository will be a fake token repository. And then here, we're going to pass token repository mock. Okay. Let's clean this line up. Let's throw that on its own line. Ah! We're back. So, and then let's take this and, oh, I could create one. Can be done with a plain confirm verified mock. Oh, was not called. I didn't know that was a thing. Let me try that out. Just going to replace my use case call in each of these tests. I could definitely clean this up because, again, I've got the same use case created in every test, and if that changes, that could be annoying. Let's try that. Well, here, okay, so here it's fine. But this co-verify was not called. It's not here. I know they have some things like that. Let's look up the documentation. Or whoops, I read the. Okay, let me just see if they have verification. Wait, why is it its own blog? Oh, it's wait, there's verify stuff down here. Specifying exactly equals 0. Oh, so was not called. It looks like it's verifying that the mock was not called at all. I could do this. Um, mm, so I guess we could do was not called here. Um, I guess, yeah, this works. This would fail if we called something else, I think. Like, I'm no longer, um, no, I think the lowercase works. No. Oh, good question. I don't know. Maybe there was something there. Um, what's the word? Um, like if I called a different function, this could be an issue. So I kind of want to go back to just the exactly 0. I want to verify that this function was not called. I guess in theory, I would not want to interact with the mock at all if it failed. Um, but let's just stick with that function for now. Okay, so we did that. Let's what else can we do? Well, now, so this is invalid credentials. So we could do token repository dot verify no token stored. In this test, we're gonna do the same thing. This is another fail. But here, um, uh, oops. Um, oh, we're gonna have to change our login response class as well. Um, let's do that first. Sorry. Oh, this is so annoying. I need to clean up these tests because that one thing alone broke all of these tests. Let's refactor some stuff. Let's put default credentials will be these guys. Um, let's put another thing for a test, a default token. Auth token, auth, refresh token, refresh. Um, we're also gonna have, let's say like, actually let's leave it at that. Um, and then yeah, let's just do the repositories in here. Um, token repository, fake token, whoops, token repository, fake token repository. Okay, we put a bunch of defaults up at the top. Let's clean up our test then. So for our success case, what we can do is login response.success. Uh, wait, did I not put? Okay, login response, default login response will be login response. Okay, default token. Sorry, just cleaning up some code here. Then sign up for the Pixel 6 giveaway. Uh, when I know when the Pixel 6 is being given away, you can ask. Actually, I think, yeah, we'll leave this as it is. I feel like some of that stuff is weird because some of these defaults are only used in one test. So let's actually, yeah, let's pull that out. I'm being picky. I'm being picky about how I clean up my tests here. Login response. So we've got our use case. Um, and yeah, so that's cleaned up. So like we can get rid of that. Here we can just do login repository dot mock login with credentials, default credentials. We can get rid of that line. All default credentials here. Um, more stuff up here. Get rid of that line. Login repository here. Get rid of this line and default credentials here. Okay. So let's run these tests. These should fail at the moment because I commented out the good stuff. Um, and let me, so let me, wait, why did they pass? I thought we commented out the good stuff. Oh, I know why. Uh, so, so these two failure tests, they actually pass by default because I'm verifying that it's not called. If the stuff is commented out, of course it's not called. But why did this test pass? Why did successful login pass? Well, it's because I'm not making the assertion. So let's do that. Token repository, the verified token stored, default token. I have the same instance of the repo. That's fine because I update the mock call in each test. Maybe that's a little um, iffy to do. Maybe I shouldn't do that, but it's technically fine. But you're right. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe the repo should be instantiated in each test. But now login fails because it was expecting a verification that never happened. So I'm going to do that. You're right. I wanted to clean up code, but you're right. I think it's fine up here that we can like have some defaults, but I don't know. Maybe I should go all the way back. Should I go all the way back? Should I have every test just do its own thing? Am I going to hate having defaults? I might, because it might do some weird behavior. It might be getting created for each one. I feel it might be right. Um, oh, I could do it before. I've done that before, actually. Pun intended. Um, so I've done like this. And then what I'll do is like set up, and then we say login repository equals fake login repository, token repository. I think Raphael is right. Even though it doesn't seem like it, I think he's right. Um, why is this yelling at me? Oh. Um, okay. The other thing that I don't like is you'll notice default credentials is referenced here twice in this test. If I only change one of these lines, I'm going to have an issue. But so what I might do is like put a local one at the test and say, this is default credentials. And then here, I keep this as credentials. This is something I like to do as well. Um, but let's keep the defaults. I think it's fine for now. And if this bites me in the future, then I will change it. But with all of that said, I think what we can do now is we can uncomment this line. Why are you yelling at me? Oh, because since commenting it, things have changed. And now let's run our test. I'm also going to check. I've been streaming for a while, and I want to make sure that Megan doesn't need me. Oh no, we have a failure. Let's see if we can figure out why. Um, no answer found for store token. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Now let's try to figure out why. Um, token is a data class. Um, well, I don't want to make it relaxed. I want what I want to test. I want to verify that it was called with the token that I expected. So this is actually implying that it was either never called or it was. Oh, maybe that is why I need the relaxed. You're right. I do need the relaxed. I thought the relaxed would like not do the verification, but I'm wrong. Um, it's fine. I can do that. So there's relaxed, but there's also relax unit fun. If you like only want to relax the unit functions, which I think that we'll do here, because we don't get a response from storing the token. You're right. That's why it failed. I think. Let's find out. Um, yeah. Okay. Relaxed works. Um, another solution. So CP pointed out the co-every. Another solution, if you don't want to make it relaxed, but you have a function that you want, like let's say you want to relax a specific function, you can do co-every mock.store token um, just runs. That's like a thing that you can do. Um, but I think I'm gonna go with the relax unit fun. Print's got a cube solve. Okay, let's commit this code because this is actually, I think, pretty good. Adding token repository for number 7. I think that's pretty good. And then that can actually be its own pull request in a second. So let's do the cube solve. Let's do some pull requests. And we've still got some viewers here. We're still going strong. Maybe we can keep powering through an extra long stream tonight. Your next cap redemption? Soon. We'll do cap soon, I'm sure. Um, but let me push that. Actually, if you don't mind, I'm gonna push that, and then I'm also going to make the pull request so it can run while we do the cube solve. Um, so we're gonna say adding login repository and token story, the token manager. um, so add the login repository to actually make login requests. and updates our use case to store the token information. JUnit first constructs a fresh instance of the class, then invokes the annotated method. Interesting. That's good to know. Well, if we're actually curious, like Matt or Prince, both of you are mods. Do either of you know how to set up Twitch predictions? And do you want to set up a prediction for like over under 30 seconds? Um, or actually, what I was thinking of was like this, like I'm kind of consistently under 30. So maybe a better prediction line would be like 27 and a half. Like, are we going to be over under 27 and a half seconds? I don't, if neither of you know how to set up a prediction, we don't have to do it. I will mix while you look. Because then you'd also have to set like a time for people to vote. But we should figure it out so we can do predictions for these because then people can gamble their points and get closer to that cap redeem and other fun stuff. Yeah, I don't know how it works. I'm is it under like manage rewards? Actually, it might be in there. Wait, why do I have a request queue? Oh, it's just showing historic ones. See if I can figure this out. There's going to be documentation on this somewhere. Oh, I wonder, hold on. Is it only, oh, it is available to partners and affiliates. Oh, Matt made one. Okay. So, um, let's say before you set it up, let's say, oh, because there's a gap here. So I was thinking we'd have to be clear about what the line is. So we'll say um, anything 2799 or faster will go to the first bucket. 2800 and up goes to the second bucket. That's what we're going to say. Just to clarify about where 27 seconds lands. Or yeah, if I get it in the 27-second gap, nobody wins. um, what I don't know is, oh, predictions are closed. That wasn't open for very long. We only got we only got one person. Can we cancel it and do another one and give like 2 minutes of time or something? Because I feel like that was we only got one vote in. But I'll tell you what, I will do a fun solve. Um, just I will just do a fun solve while the mods figure out what they're doing. We need to plan this better, but I'll do one. This one we're doing now means nothing. Or they set up a prediction. Let's see how long they gave before it closes. Will it tell me? Um, I can't see how long. As a broadcaster, it won't let me see how long they gave y'all to vote. But you all could probably see it. 5 minutes? Ooh. Okay, I have an idea. While y'all are voting on that, my drink is empty. I could use the restroom. Why don't we take a little 5 minute stream break, and then we will come back and solve the Rubik's Cube and do a prediction. If I come back before 5 minutes, we'll hang out, but this can give everyone a chance to get up, stretch their legs real quick. So let me switch back over here. On chat, seems like y'all were joking about stuff. I need to figure out how to. I have like the quick actions on the dashboard, but I'm not seeing like oh, I can search quick actions. Oh my god, now I can add a prediction. Okay, and now I can see the countdown timer as well. Okay, next time we have a thing, I will do a prediction. Sudoku stream, interesting idea. I've thought about it. I didn't want to rip off of Cracking the Cryptic, but they do some cool stuff, and I want to I like it. It'd be cool. I don't know. It'd be fun for puzzles. Maybe I'll make that like a redemption or something. But it would take me a while. I could spend like 10 to 15 minutes on some of these harder ones. Um, um, okay. While we wait for the next minute and 20 for that to finish, actually, let's go to this pull request, the login use case. Let's merge it. And then that I think might affect this pull request. We'll need to, no, apparently it won't. I'm surprised it does not, because it's going into development, which has a different thing. But okay, I guess because it was all similar commits. Wait, you got 18 seconds? Thank God that wasn't the prediction. I would not beat you. Ooh, do it. Twitch, you could have Twitch scramble my Rubik's Cube. You all could just like mash the keyboard and scramble the Rubik's Cube. Um, and then make me solve it. That would actually be pretty funny. That would be pretty funny. Um, cool. It's fine. 2, 1. All right, let me take a look at this. I'm actually nervous. Like those of you who bet high, as much as I want to be fast, like y'all might be onto something here. Because I'm nervous now. But let's see what we can do. Ready? Oh no. Oh wow, that was real bad. Oh, that was real bad. I thought I was going so good. What happened there? Oh no. Oh no. All right, let's can we see? Did someone cash out? Ooh, 6,000 channel points go to CP and 4 others. Tim, shut the hell up. Mods, can we ban Tim? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Don't ban him. Dang, that was rough. I'm upset. It was the 5 minute break. Now that we have predictions under control, next time it happens, it'll be a lot better. So now I'm just worried. Like, I'm going to sign on next Wednesday and CP is going to redeem Captain America right when I start. I just know it. He's probably loaded at this point. Uh, I believed in me too. I'm upset. Maybe it makes me go faster. You're right. Uh-huh. All right. Where are we at? Well, one thing we can do is we can at least check off login repository on our list now. Um, this will probably yell at me actually because okay, well here's one thing we need to do. Let's do this real quick. Check out development, pull. Let's go back to our last branch and then merge in development. Because we want the pull request to only show what actually changed. Have a good night, CP. Have a good night, Prince. I think everyone's getting. Man, we still have viewers. People are still hanging out. I appreciate all of you. Um, that gives me energy. I'm ready to keep going. Um, I will probably do, as we approach the 3 hour mark here, I will probably do another splice on the YouTube videos, because no one wants to sit and watch 3 hours of the same YouTube video. Sleeping, Tim. People sleep during these hours. Um, okay, but this will actually yell at me because I need to update stream history. Um, for the repository PR. They're coming soon, actually. I talked to my manager um, about the idea of taking a couple hours during my work week to do some streaming, and they were okay with it. As long as I kind of get through this current project I'm working on, because I'm working on a really big one. But he said that once we get through the next couple sprints, he would be totally okay with me doing that. So, not sure what days or times, but they are coming. So, keep an eye out for that. Um, updating stream history. What is this? Had to get ignored. We don't care about that. So, yeah, I'll find some time. Uh, I'll let you know. I think I'll probably stream kind of in like the morning-ish my time, which would be like mid-afternoon for chunks of Europe. Uh, we'll see. Maybe I'll post something out on around for like some of the regulars and see who see if there's like certain people who want to see more of it or something, or like have suggestions on times. Figure something out. But yeah, good night. I hope I got good night to everyone who was helping it or heading out. But so Wild Dog, if you're still here, do you wake up for my streams or do you go to bed after my streams? Oh, I'm assuming you wake up because that means it's now like 7:30 a.m. But I don't know, maybe you like have off working hours. I'm just curious. I used to have a regular from Australia, I think in Melbourne. And so for them, it was like 6 o'clock in the morning. So they would wake up when I started streaming. I always loved hearing about that. Well, I appreciate the YouTube following. I think that's true of a lot of people. I have like next to no, I have a small number of people who come catch the streams live, but my views on YouTube are actually quite a bit. Uh, so I'm glad that people are finding them helpful. Did you? I must have forgotten. Or maybe Wild Dog's not your Twitter handle? You probably did, and I totally forgot. All right, have a good night, Shaban. Um, uh, all right, let's see. Where do we want to go tonight? Well, um, oh wait, is this what is happening here? Did I break something when I merged? Let's do a clean build and let's see what happens. Let's make sure we don't have any issues. I might have broken something when I merged. But then we can work on, I don't know if we'll like, well, the next thing we're going to need to do is set up the view model. And then once we have that, then we need to go, aha, I just saw your DM. Now I understand. Thanks for connecting the dots. Um, we'll need to set up the view model, but then there will be like the part of building the login screen. And then we need to actually make sure that we can run it on our emulator and see stuff happen, which will be, um, that will be fun. Let's take it a step at a time. Let's figure out why the IDE is yelling at me. I'm not sure why. Oh, I think because, okay, so I definitely broke something when I merged, because this changed. Oh, why is this? Oh, let's delete this. Oh, I think that's probably what I did wrong. Um, I think I just deleted a file. Oh no, I'm still having issues. What is happening? Oh, this isn't needed anymore. We knew that file could be gone. Um, I don't know if y'all know about this shortcut. When you see at the top of your screen the package structure, if you double click on a particular package, it focuses it in your left-hand pane. So like I double click on this use case, and now I see here's the file I want, and I can right click delete right from there. Just cool little Android Studio shortcut. No, to the right of which one is that? Whoa, that's cool. Did not know about that. Always something. Ha. So this changes because this was. Wait, did we actually use login type? I don't think so, right? We decided not to use that. That was from sample stuff. So yeah, we can delete the login type file. Huh. I'm always fascinated by like stuff that some Android devs use 100 times a day, and um, other people have never heard about it. And like people say that on my stream all the time about some things they see me do, and it's fascinating how powerful the IDE is, and that it has all these cool little tricks that people don't know. There's actually someone on Twitter, I wish I could remember their name off the top of my head, who's been doing like 100 days of Android Studio shortcuts. You should follow them on Twitter if you're not. It would be really great. Let me see if I can find that. Ada, I guess. Let me find it. There they are. Yeah, so shout out to Ada. Go follow them on Twitter if you want to see uh, daily tricks from Android Studio. I think they are on, let's see if I can find it. They're around the halfway point, like 51 days, 52 days. What is Control G? Is that opened the search bar at the top for me? What does it do? All right, everything's passing again. Um, oh, interesting. Let me try that out. Where would that be used? I see. Is that not the same as like just if you do Command F and then you hit Enter, it does the same thing? No, really, it is Control G. Okay, hold on. Oh, I see. Oh, whoa! It selected all of them in a multi-cursor mode. Whoa! Whoa! So I highlighted the one I want. Control G. Testing. Wow, this is very cool. Um, I actually never use multi-cursor. Another thing though, if you're using that for a variable, you can also just do refactor, and then it will refactor all of them at the same time. Um, I'm not sure, but maybe there's like a use case for not wanting to refactor. Maybe you're changing like documentations. Um, who like Christmas? So Um, I remember interviewing someone one time, and I accidentally stopped them without really thinking about what I'm saying, and I was like, "Whoa, what'd you just do right there?" And then they got all defensive trying to explain their code, and I'm like, "No, no, no, sorry, your code is great. What was that keyboard shortcut?" I was like, I was like, well, it's one of my favorite things of interviewing Android devs. It's an excuse for me to learn new tricks just by seeing other people use their IDE. But I was kind of I could have phrased it a little bit better. Um, oh, okay. They're like changing a bunch of okay, interesting. I'm gonna bump my tweet because we're still going. Because we're still going. Let me bump the oh, presentations. Yeah, that's what mine has. Um that's this green thing. Oh, I guess it doesn't show up. Well, it hid behind the window. That's what this comes up on mine. So if I do like double shift, oh, I guess when a pop-up window comes up, it's hovering it. I should make my windows not so large. But yes, that's what I use. The presentation assistant is what it's called. I'm just kind of buying time because I don't want to deal with merge issues again, so I want this to run, and then we'll merge this, and then we'll start working on the view model. Um, Maybe I will just trust my instincts and merge this and hope I don't break anything. Um, every time you do an action, don't use the keybind. Oh my god! Did you know there's a Vim plugin where it changes this portion here to use the Vim? Uh, like it's like typing in Vim, but still having all of the IDE stuff. Um, uh, Key promoter. Interesting. Let's look it up. I'm curious. Oh my god, where's the plugins? I can't type. Oh, and it's also key promoter. Wow, 2.5 million installs. Do I really want to restart on stream? Uh, YOLO. What's the worst that could happen when you restart Android Studio? Oh, okay. I was gonna ask like how do I what's a good way to test it, but I see run being a good way to test it. Also, this past here, I'm not gonna wait for the UI test one to run because they haven't changed, so it should pass. So let's just add that squash and merge. Nice. Okay. Um, let's switch back over to development real quick. I clicked on that damn link, didn't I? Okay, nothing popped up. I guess I didn't. And let's make a new branch real quick. Log in view metal. Okay, but first, so you're saying if I hit this, oh, command debug missed one time. Okay. And, all right, I will try this out. I'll try this out for a little bit. I think I will hate it. I might also disable the run one, but that's fine. All right, so